Good morning, Internet. Was waking up today and I thought of something that is relevant to a lot of the topics I've been talking about on my stream here, namely the form of internet communication and how we could use the existing tools we have to augment or wrap our communications in interesting ways. It's just a matter of figuring out how to use the tools we already have in novel and useful ways, and by doing this, we could make very good use of a lot of digital infrastructure that's already in place. So, specifically today, I want to talk about this idea of YouTube as a kind of wrapper of the internet. So, what do I mean by wrapper? If you you get a burrito, for instance, you the burrito comes wrapped in a wrapper because you don't want to just hand someone a burrito with a wet tortilla or whatever. Hold it. That will be hard to transport. Obvious reasons why you don't want to do it. So you wrap it, and then likewise the burrito itself has a tortilla, which will wrap and enclose a bunch of ingredients like some sort of protein, some meat, some beans, some cheese, whatever you have in your burrito. So these wrappers, what they do is they make it easier to access something else that you might consider the essential, the meat of the burrito. But the wrapper is extremely important in that it facilitates the delivery. It makes the thing much more accessible to you. If you didn't have the wrapper, let's say you have a burrito bowl, for instance, then you're going to need the infrastructure support of the bowl, as well as some utensils to eat it with. So the wrapper lets you just take a burrito on the go on a camping trip, on a wherever you're going with the burrito. It makes it much more easy to transport and to do a lot of stuff with. So in programming, there's this term, a wrapper function. So suppose you have some function that's written in some programming language. So you call a function to do something. I'll just as a concrete example, let's just say you call a function and then it increases your game currency. So you push a button and you get money. Pretty cool. But such a function might be very complicated to call. Let's say that's a very low level function written in C or assembly or something. So it's a very fast function that's very close to the hardware that has to deal with this in-game money or something. This game is a super high-speed NFT crypto game, let's say. So you have to write another function to make it easier to access this difficult-to-use function. So you might write a JavaScript API. That's a popular thing that people do these days. Yeah, you make a JavaScript API. It seems like everyone and their pet dogs writing a JavaScript API these days in Node.js, something like that. Anyways, the point is a wrapper function, just like a tortilla or a wrapper might make it easier to eat a burrito. A wrapper function might make it easier to operate some sort of software, such as doing a function call in a language that has all this big brain computer stuff I don't understand. In a similar way, we could use YouTube or some other social video type site as a wrapper around other stuff. So maybe it's really hard to share your thoughts about a Wikipedia article. So this wrapper function Wikipedia article, for instance, I mean, I guess I could make a Wikipedia account, but is there a really easy way to write comments, to talk about it, to explain about it? I don't think that this is really the case. Now, if I make a YouTube video about it, on the other hand, I could, of course, with the video itself, share my thoughts, highlight things, explain what I think about stuff, and this will be much more convenient than having like a little blurb thing that pops up in the side. People are much more familiar with the YouTube format. Plus, there's all sorts of problems like screen size and stuff that are hard to manage if you're doing programming interfaces. Whereas all videos, laptops, all the stuff made nowadays is made to show video in a pretty accessible way, because that's one of the main uses people have for these devices. So not only could you comment on that, then you have this nesting function available to you as well, where I make like a YouTube video, then you are free to comment, like, and subscribe as well, which means that if you think my comment is smart, you think my comments are dumb, then you could let me know in the comments below, and you could even like make your own video and share it, and then I could comment and respond to yours. So this whole mechanism, I think that people were trying to get with the comment section of various websites, the digital infrastructure is already there. We could use tools like YouTube and stuff in order to do this. This isn't a technical limitation that's preventing people from reading and commenting about stuff. Rather, it's more of a social, political, whatever you want to call it. There's factors that have to deal with people that are the reasons why such things are not more popular. One other example of this sort of thing, so this website, Gab, they promote themselves as a free speech platform. They originally had a Chrome extension that basically allowed you to comment on different web pages. A kind of wrapper, you could say, but the mechanism in which they delivered that was a browser extension. And as you might guess, that browser extension got banned because maybe YouTube or Google, whoever, they did not want people with the unfiltered comment section just commenting on whatever they wanted on the internet. So eventually, the folks at Gab, they released their own browser. Now, I wrote a little blurb here in preparation for this. I'll just read it. There are clear difficulties that are associated with getting people to adapt new products or platforms rather than making use of existing ones. While certain audiences may readily adapt new software, a large proportion of technology users stick with default software and only change if they have a really pressing need. It is, of course, a lot of work to figure out how to use any new piece of software, so this is very reasonable. So this point I made here, in internet history, this is a big deal. People will talk about how whatever browser operating system, such as Windows, if Windows ships with Internet Explorer, then in the past we saw most people would use Internet Explorer simply because that's what came with Windows. So similarly, if your school or whatever organization you're doing a lot of internet stuff with requires you to use Google Chrome or something for compatibility or whatever reasons they have, then you'll find that people get comfortable with that piece of software. And if they aren't like Linux nerd tech geeks who would switch and try new software for fun anyways, I think it's pretty safe to say a lot of people, they just want to stick and use what they have. So a solution like this Dissenter browser sort of thing, while I haven't tried it, so I'm falling under this category myself now, people who I'm just using what works already for me. It's hard to get people to adapt new stuff, especially at a wide scale, even if, let's just assume that the technology is superior and that it offers some cool features that like Google browser or whatever you're using doesn't give. So my little thesis here is that YouTube already offers a nice technical solution to this problem. We're able to comment on text. So like my simple setup here is I just have a browser window open and then could highlight and talk about stuff and like offer commentary. So like a comment section. And then furthermore, as I was saying, then you could further comment on the commentary. So all the mechanisms are there for a comment. And another way YouTube's better is through like an oral medium, through speaking. Then it's not like someone's going to mistake something for irony or sarcasm or whatever as readily as if you're just reading text. I think that there's all sorts of ways in which someone might have just wrote something in an email and then somebody will be really offended. It might come off as too direct or something. With text-based communication, you run into these problems a lot more. Whereas in a video format, especially if someone like me, I show my face when I make my videos, you present information in a way like this, then I would say overall the communication is better. And furthermore, videos like this, I don't know where people might be watching this. You could be in a train on the way to work. Somebody could be blasting this video in a car while you're carpooling somewhere, or you could just be opening it in a browser window because you got a notification from YouTube. I don't know how you're watching this, but it's readily accessible in many contexts, and it doesn't necessarily involve you looking down on a screen. Even if I'm just speaking or reading stuff, the content I have to offer here is readily available. So that is my little blurb here, this thought I had as YouTube as a kind of wrapper of the internet. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you all for watching.